Okay. Okay. Now we're recording. All right. Hello, Ken. Hello. Good morning.
Morning, Jacob.
Good morning, world. We're here. We're going to talk about some UFC beefs. I don't know if anybody saw. Did you see the Ariel Helwani stuff?
Which stuff? There's a lot of
Just
stuff that Ariel Hawani says, dude.
yeah, right. The stuff about Sean not necessarily like Sean apologizing after the card, things like that, and how Ariel like hates it and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I did see that stuff.
What's your opinion on that?
I don't like to get too political on this show. You know me. But I did see a comment that said, when a Christian and a Muslim start getting along, a Jew is going to get involved. Now, I neither agree nor disagree with that. But I do think Ariel Hawani is too much of like a shit stir, you know?
Yeah, I think he just wants to, make more beef. You know what I mean? And also, it's like, dude, he this is the first time he's really doing this, but this happened in the UFC a bunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like UFC fighters always talk their shit and then they give the respect after. Conor, dude, Conor McGregor did it to Habib.
He tried. He tried to
Yeah,
do it.
he tried and
He
it
didn't
worked.
succeed, but he tried.
Yeah, I mean, dude, Kobe Covington did it with Kamaru.
He didn't
I
do it
feel
with
like
Jorge though.
no, no, no. But Jorge got his get back, right?
Yeah.
Um, but no, but yeah, today we're gonna talk about some beefs. We wanted to go through some of our favorites. And this will probably just end up us talking about a bunch of beefs, but hey, we're gonna get this shit started. Ken, what's one of your beefs that you thought would be a good one to talk about?
Uh, it's A5 Wagyu. It's pretty good. Um,
A lot of fat on it, huh?
yeah. Nah, you still there, Jay?
All right. Now that all right. Hello. Is this working? Am I back?
I was about to text you, be like, hey, it's just me. Just like
Yo, if it's not that bad, I'm leaving that in. That is hilarious.
Jesus Christ.
Um, but anyways,
Uh,
I totally missed what who your first beef was.
okay. My first favorite beef in the UFC or MMA in general would be Anderson the Spider Silva and Chael Sonnen.
Yep, classic. The
Yeah.
classic. Get him in the last second.
Yeah, because I mean, it's spanned over so many years because they just recently squashed the beef. Because Chael Sonnen, still was at it, calling him a cheater. Then he got caught cheating. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's whenever, you have somebody that's so good coming up and they're the clear title challenger, and then they dominate the champion for 24 minutes and then they get
Mhm.
caught last second and they lose, like
Yeah,
that beef's never going to be over. Because I mean, come on, Joe
dude,
never
you're
got
it's
another shot.
no, yeah, you're right, and also I think sometimes some rivalries and beef they turn into such a bigger thing when it turns into a I'm defending my country.
Yeah, that's true.
Dude, do you know how much shit Che was saying about like Brazil? Like,
Yeah,
it's crazy. Like, dude,
he was talking about the
that
Noguera brothers petting a bus, trying to feed it a carrot. Dude, come on.
dude, that's the thing is Che will always go down as like top three trash talkers of all time. You know what I mean? But that's a really good one, Ken. I like that beef. Um, yeah, for Anderson to go in there and win like that. it's cinema, you know? And it's funny because even Chael still talking shit after the fact. He's saying that he thought tapping just ended the round.
Yeah, man, that's what it does, does it not? Is it not in the round?
Nah, bro, dude, yeah, right. Imagine. Um, but no, that's a really good beef. I'm gonna start mine. I'm gonna start mine too with a little throwback beef here. I got Tito and Chuck.
Check, that's a good one.
A little friendship turned beefy, huh?
That also
I
included Dana White, dude. That's when the Dana White beef started with Chuck.
Yeah,
I mean
dude,
Tito.
a three-way beef, bro. Um, no, I honestly think that this beef was one of the first big pay-per-view sells, you know what I mean, for beef. Um, Also, I just want to say, when I think of Tito and Chuck, I that has to be two of the best shorts ever. You know what I mean? Like fire and ice. Like that is so cold, you know? Um, but yeah, what do you think about Tito and Chuck?
I think Tito's biggest beef is with the English language, dude. But that's neither here nor there. I think Tito versus Chuck was pretty good. I do think it did have it didn't have the best build up because it did take so long for the fight to actually happen because Tito didn't want to fight Chuck.
Mhm.
But at the same time, I also think that the ending was perfect with Chuck TKOing Tito, even though
Yeah.
I don't think Tito was actually TKO'd. I think he took a dive.
You think so?
Controversial opinion there, but I don't think Tito TKO'd him. None of those shots
See,
landed, and he just dropped. I think he just wanted to be done with it.
yeah, yeah, like I think that I don't know if he necessarily like sold it, like went into the fight wanting to lose. I think when the fight started, he was like, I want to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
Dude, because Tito's kind of chinny and like, dude, obviously the stuff that Chuck was throwing was absolute heat, even though he was wearing them Iceman shorts, you know?
yeah, he's
But
the Iceman, dude.
yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's so funny though, like, and I know to just stay on Chuck, like how it flips. One person's chin is so chinny, and then just bam, you become the chinniest person in the UFC. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, Tito and Chuck for me. Ken, what's your number four?
got to go with another one that's kind of old school. That's BJ Penn and GSP.
I like it. I like it a
That
lot.
was
I
like
like it a lot.
one of the first big super fights, you know? And then there
Mhm.
was like the Grease Gate came out there too, where in between the rounds, GSP's corner was rubbing Vaseline on his body to make it harder for BJ Penn to grip him. I mean, that actually created the rule change of cornermen are the only people that are allowed to apply Vaseline to the fighters. Because
Right.
before that, cornermen, I mean, coaches and cornermen could do it as well. But also kind of robbed us of BJ Penn, you know, beating GSP because I think that was like one of the, like I said, first super fights and one of the fights that could have cemented BJ Penn and maybe not made him go as insane as he did after the
Yeah,
UFC.
right. Maybe that's the fight that turned him into the Terminator, you know?
Yeah, there's an alternate timeline where BJ Penn wins that fight and he goes on to be the greatest of all time and doesn't
Yeah.
become crazy.
Yeah, it's insane, man. How I also think that it's really awesome when the UFC can capitalize on a beef, but also a crazy skill comparison. You know, like how good are they actually like a really 50-50 fight. Um Also, do you think that the grease gate was that intentional, or do you really think it was a mistake by GSP's coach? Because personally, GSP to me is probably the most stoic fighter. I would use him as the best example as like a fighter to show people as an example, you know?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a few instances of like stuff like that happening with GSP. Unfortunately, I don't think necessarily it's GSP. It could just be his cornerman, could be his coaches. I do think it was intentional. Yes, obviously it was intentional. Like you can't rub Vaseline on yourself and be like, "Oh, I didn't realize that I'd be more slippery." I like what?
Yeah,
No
right.
way.
What 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 kind of corner? Oh my god. The what I was gonna say was you were talking about the corner and how they were making the mistake of doing that and things like that. I think the other hilarious corner mistake was remember the ice that opened up and then they just started like moving it with their hands onto the octagon.
They tried to
It's
scoop it
crazy,
into the
man.
bucket and then knocked it over, and then
Yeah,
just started kicking it. And Joe
dude, the
Rogan's like,
UFC,
Joe Rogan's like, "One of the ring girls, one of the ring girls is gonna slip and fall on the ice. Good
dude.
job."
Oh my god, it's crazy what the UFC like used to be. You know what I mean? Like how much more crazy it was.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, no, that's a good one. That's really good. I like that one too because, dude, I always honestly do GSP versus BJ Penn on UFC. By the way, which have you seen the new UFC clips?
at least seen Connor get knocked out in that one clip.
Dude, it's
Whatever
trash.
clip
The
that
new
is, I think it's Holloway and him.
Yeah, the new UFC game it looks garbage, man. There's like a flow state and it's like an X Factor mode. Dude, I don't know. It looks so stupid to me. Um, but anyways, I will not be buying. Stop become UFC. Do not become the NBA and the fucking and Madden, please. I don't want that same game recycled every year. But anyways, um, dude, my number four, I got to go with something that makes me feel absolutely amazing, right? Dude, Bisbing and Rockhold,
Oh, there you go. Conceive,
dude.
believe, achieve. Shut the fuck up.
Dude, there's nothing better than when the beef begins, right? The underdog that everyone wants to win wins, right? And then there's no respect earned. The beef is still happening after the fact. Luke Rockhold wants to cry in the post-fight press conference, which this is what we were saying a few like episodes ago. How awesome would it be if they brought back like the post-fight presser where both the guys were there?
Yeah,
That would be so sick. But dude, yeah, the dude Bisping, I have to say, is one of the best trash talkers again in the UFC. Um, dude, he talked up a storm to Rockhold, and that beef, I think, almost won him the fight before he got in the ring or before he got in the octagon. You know, dude, what's your thoughts?
yeah. I love Mike Bisping. He is one of my favorites. But dude, that after the fight, dude, you won the fight. I'm on Luke's side after the fight. You won the fight, dude. You don't have to rub it in and be like, Do you know where you are? Huh? Do you know where you are?"
Dude,
Like ask him where he is and stuff. Like,
my
dude, you
my
knocked him
favorite
out.
part
Relax.
my favorite part after he knocked him out was when the camera pans over to him and he's on top of the cage and he's going, "Fuck you!" like,
Yeah. He just tries to shake his hand. He's, "Oh, you don't want to shake my hand," and flips him off and walks away. It's like, dude, he's knocked out. Chill out.
yeah.
Relax.
No, I
But yeah,
get. Hey,
that
listen,
that was great. I love a good Mike Bisping left hook Larry knocking out
dude, it was
Luke
perfect.
Rockhold.
And then we got Jared Perillo.
Yeah.
Dude, I love Jared Perillo, man. He is hilarious. Um, but yeah, dude, I got to go with Bisbing and Rocker for my number four. All right, buddy. What do you got next?
My next one is probably a big fan favorite. Fans across multiple combat sports. Izzy and Alex, dude.
Dude, my third is Izzy and Alex too, so we can just run
Yeah.
this whole thing.
Yeah, just
Get
being the person who gets Alex out of the bar because he's an alcoholic, and he doesn't have anything to live for, anything to achieve anymore, and then you're talking shit about him. He sees an interview about you talking about him, and then he comes to your sport, dominates. Was it in 3 fights, gets a championship shot, and then he beats Izzy, and then just Izzy, coming back and beating the one guy that like he couldn't beat. Like that's a movie. That's a story right there, man. That's a
Yeah.
storybook ending right there.
Yeah.
And then for them to have respect for each other afterwards, be somewhat friends. That's pretty chill as well.
Well, that's the thing is I think Alex and Izzy is one of the rare cases where the beef is actually over because of the fighting. You know what I mean? Like they fought enough. It's over. Like it's okay. They don't have to hate each other anymore. Um, but I don't think Izzy will ever like Alex. But I think that he doesn't have to hate him anymore. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah, I mean, he did
yeah,
his taunt to him while he was passed out in the cage after he knocked him out, and then taunted his kid, taunted Alex's kid
yeah, exactly,
afterwards.
bro. Highlight reel shit. Um, dude, Alex and Izzy, man, you kind of nailed it. I think I'm gonna say kind of what you said and just kind of word it differently. Um, dude, this beef created one of the goats.
Yeah,
Um, that is so
two of the
rare
goats
to
actually.
happen. Two of the goats. Um, one of the best moments in UFC history. If you ever watch a UFC top 10 moments list, Izzy knocking out Alex will be on that. The best top 3 celebration of all time. Like you're gonna take Alex's celebration and shoot him with his own arrows. Jesus Christ.
And then
Um,
break the bow over your leg, dude.
that dude, insane choreography. The um also, this is another thing I want to say. The beef is pure. There's no like talking shit. Like it's not like Alex is like you're ugly and all this stuff. Like it's you want to watch those fights because you want to see Alex's skill versus Izzy's skill, you know? And dude, we saw that in the first fight when he beat Izzy because Izzy rocked him hard. Could have put him out, things like that if
Yeah.
there was a little bit longer in the fight. And then Alex comes back and knocks him out. And then in the second fight, Izzy knocks him out. Um, dude, like I said, this has created this beef created the best highlight reel, one of the goats. Dude, we ever since Alex and Izzy, Alex has been saving the UFC's cards, you know? Um, but yeah, dude, I totally agree with you. They were honestly at my number 3 too, Alex and Izzy. Uh yeah. I'm gonna take number 2 here. Uh it was between two, but this one, considering it still is standing, and it's one of my favorites. John and DC, man. John and DC.
John and DC. Before you start, have you seen them eating like food together? And John's
Yeah,
like, break bread, bread with me. And he's
yeah. And
like, no.
he goes. I'm always gonna fill my pockets with this shit.
Yeah. He's like, you're always gonna be making me money, man.
Yeah. Well, that's
He's
what I
just
was gonna ask you
keeping it
before
going.
we get deep into the DC and John Jones history about beef and stuff. Um, do you think that it's like still like real beef, or do you think that money's prevailed and like that it is like fabricated for like not fabricated, but they don't like I don't know. Do you think there's behind the scenes friendship with them?
I don't think so. I think DC means everything he says about John Jones. How he says that he's a drug addict and a horrible human being, and he's fake
Yeah,
and all that stuff. I don't think there's a world where DC and John Jones would be friends outside of this. I know that there is mutual respect. There has to be mutual respect between them. I know DC does say that John Jones could have been one of the greatest of all time, but all the outside activity is what prevents him from doing it. And how he says how John always got in his own way. But I don't think that there's a behind the scenes friendship at all now.
right. Yeah, no, yeah, you saying that kind of actually sways me because I when you talk about that and you talk about how DC was saying how John Jones gets in his own way, I think this is the same interview where it's the when the beef gets real personal, that's when it's also super real. You know, when DC was bringing up the stuff outside of the UFC and like why John can't be the greatest and things like that, why he's not a good role model and stuff like that, it becomes so much bigger than the UFC. You know, and it just sucks because DC shines a light on all the dark stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But hey, you have to. I mean, DC is a role model as far as a person goes and things like that. Oh, here you go. Sorry, my Winston wants to play with the ball. But no, I think like you said, yeah, you kind of got me there because that the beef has to be real shit with some of the shit that they talk about and stuff like that, and the fights how they went down. It was crazy, and for John to pop for steroids, it just kind of keeps that going. It's insane, dude. God, do you now? It's so hard for me because do you think John is a drug cheat?
Nah, dude, definitely not. He definitely wasn't taking steroids.
But how much? It's hard because how much does that taint John's legacy for you?
Honestly, he like in my eyes, regardless of the steroids, he was a champion in the UFC during like the time period where it kind of switched over from like there were people in the UFC openly taking steroids. Vitor Belfort, like he fought people taking steroids, and then USADA came in and he never popped for steroids besides the one time, and it was like a picogram. So like I don't know if it was like his entire career, but even if he did take steroids at some point of his career, like everyone, like Anderson Silva, that's one of the like asterisks on his name is he popped for steroids. Like you have all these older fighters that clearly were taking steroids, and I can't hold that against them. It's like Barry Bonds and Mike McGuire. Like,
Mm-hmm.
do you allow them in the Hall of Fame? Like, or like because they were on steroids? Like, at what point do we just say, you know what, man? Like, the steroids didn't really actually affect the fight. Like, did it give an unfair advantage? Maybe slightly, but if you're up against people that are also taking steroids, who cares? And I
Yeah, I
feel
was gonna
like he
say,
kind of, like I said, he was in that transitional period. And I think after USADA came in, he never popped for any drugs or anything like that besides cocaine. Like cocaine,
yeah,
man, chill. Let him have a good night out. That's like chill.
yeah, dude, a little
Yeah.
no sugar. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. So this is also why I wanted to say. I also agree with it was a time period change and things like that. I 100% think there's a lot of UFC fighters that we don't talk about that go, phew, they didn't get me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like there is so many that probably did were on the sauce that did do this and that, and they just simply didn't get caught. I mean, like TJ Dillashaw, freaking Chael Sonnen, Anderson. I mean, obviously. Oh, Winston needs out. Pause. Hold on 1 second. All right.
Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, yeah, right. And and it's also like there's a lot of fighters that when they give the excuse, we kind of just brush over the shoulder because how many people, dude, know Sean O'Malley failed a drug test? You know what
Right.
I mean? Like, there's not a ton of people who know that. I mean, isn't uh did Kamara fail a drug test or something too at one point? Because isn't that
Maybe
something
I don't know off I don't know off the
that
top of my head.
I don't know. I don't want to spread false information without with our huge audience here, but but yeah, dude, John and DC was a huge beef. I definitely have that on my number two. Um, yeah, we can move on to the next one, Ken. What's your next beef?
I'm gonna go over to the female side of things,
Okay.
and I'm gonna say Misha Tate and Ronda Rousey, dude.
Yep. I
When
need a
they
little bit
coached
of a
the
refresher
ultimate
on this one.
they coached the Ultimate Fighter against each
Yeah.
other. Misha was making the comments about Ronda's striking coach. Ronda was a little butthurt. I mean, Ronda owned beat the crap out of Misha twice, armbarred her in like a couple seconds. but at the same time, like that was like one of the things that kind of got people on Ronda's side and actually made her a little likable was that she was able to have the back and forth with Misha.
Hmm.
Sorry, fucking cats on my table.
That's all right, dude. Our animals are really causing us problems this morning, man. Oh my god.
Yeah, but that was like one of the bigger rivalries in women's MMA, and towards like the start of the women's MMA as well, and kind of got eyes on the women's side of the sports. So I think that was like an important rivalry.
Yeah, 100%. I think when a beef can bring eyes on something that's not super watched, like the women's UFC, like the women's fighting when it was first introduced, and during this time period when Ronda was bringing in way more fans and way more eyes to the sport. Those beefs bring in more casuals, more people who just are interested in the shit talk in the Ultimate Fighter because it was so much bigger back then. Like it obviously needs a revamp and a change now, but dude, back then it was gold. You know, it was hot. It was hot on the press. People wanted to see that. People wanted to watch it. Speaking of Ultimate Fighter, what are some of your favorite Ultimate Fighter moments?
Rampage versus the Door. That's pretty fun.
Yeah, yeah, I like that
Van
one. I like that one.
Vanderlei and Chael.
Yeah, I can't let you
Can't
get
let you get
close.
close.
I like
When
that
we
one.
gonna fight? Spoon, spoon, spoon. Love that.
Can't forget
What
the
about
Hall
you?
of Fame quote. Can't forget the Hall of Fame. Let me bang, bro.
Oh yeah, that's good.
Let me bang, bro. And then I would have to say I like when Rampage Jackson calls that dude titties. because the dude get because the dude gets super angry, and then Rampage, like the dude like really wants to start fighting Rampage, and it's hilarious. But back to Ronda and Misha Tate. Yeah, Ronda was on such a streak. It was like the only way you would ever beat her would probably be like making her upset before the fight and like making her strike a lot. But
Yeah.
dude.
Probably like also like the only other way to beat her would be like a head kick knockout.
Yeah, hey man, I wonder who did that little Holly Holm shout out, huh? But
Yeah.
she did not take that well. I mean, if you want to talk about beef, talk about the UFC and Ronda Rousey. Holy shit, man! You've been hearing her on was she on Ariel or something, right? Talking all about this
Brendan
stuff,
Schaub and Ronda Rousey, dude.
dude.
That's a
God,
beef.
man, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy. But no, I agree. That is a good beef. Was that your number two?
Yeah.
Ken, shoot me your number one because it'll probably be the same.
I mean, we hinted about it a little bit earlier. Gotta do Habib and Connor, obviously.
I
Gotta
mean,
do
if
it.
that if that wasn't your number one, do you even watch the UFC? Let's be real. Um, dude, that
Do you know why
fight
it started?
it started because when Habib was it because no.
Habib and his team cornered Artem Lobov
Yeah, and
and
then
slapped
slapped
him
him.
around a little
Yeah.
bit.
Okay, I
And
do remember that.
Connor got onto a flight and flew from
That's
Ireland all the
Yep,
way
this
to
is
New
where the bus
York.
stuff happened.
Yeah, and attacked the bus.
Yep, and then that's how our boy gets the easiest fights of all time, Michael Chiesa. But
Yeah.
regardless, yeah, his beef with the bus. But regardless, no, dude, this beef again, it bleeds over into real world stuff. I mean, shit. Habib jumped out of the ring after the fight and started fighting Connor's team. It's crazy. Like, take it away. Tell me what your favorite moments from the beef was.
I liked whenever Connor was trying to cheers cheers Habib at the press conference
He's
and said like the Muslim
assalamu
words or
alaikum.
whatever. Yeah. And then Habib was like, You cannot be drinking alcohol and say Assalamu alaikum at the same time. You can't do that.
Yeah,
You know, just like the little stuff. And then my favorite moment obviously would be Habib fucking jumping like an eagle to kick Dylan Dennis after the fight. That was
yeah.
pretty sick.
Dude, I like when I mean Connor drunk is hilarious. Just the intensity behind it all, because it was all so real and so much like fire behind it, which I
But
think
was it
was
real?
I think it was 100% real. I think that Connor doesn't. I don't think Connor goes in there and talks about Ali Abdelaziz the way he does, without it being real, without it being legit. I think that Habib. Um, I think Habib and even I mean Islam and them, you kind of saw it when someone called Islam motherfucker. Um, Dude, they don't take that shit lightly. I mean, I know we saw it with Sean and Hamza, but dude, they do not take that shit lightly. You know, they and sometimes they don't even know what it means. It might not mean the same thing, and it might mean something way worse. You know, and they
Yeah.
take it so much worse. When you have when you have Sir Conor McGregor telling you it was just for sales in the octagon, yeah, dude, the beef is real, I think.
That's what I was saying. Like he was saying, dude, it's all business. It's all business. As he's getting punched in the face, and Habib's like, "Is this business?"
I Yeah,
Habib was
dude.
giving him the business.
I think when you see when I rewatched the fight, because I rewatched the fight last night, when the way that the Habib is choking Connor out with or doing whatever he is with the chin lock or whatever, um, dude, he does not want to let go. He
No,
like Habib, like Herb or whoever takes him off, and he it's like such a hard like grip that he lets go of. If there was no referee, Connor's dead. Connor is dead in the octagon. Um,
yeah, I feel like they were trying to actually murder him when, like three of Habib's teammates jumped in the ring and like just
yeah,
attacked him from behind.
it's
It
scary,
was
dude.
serious. It was not business for them. It was serious and it was real life
Yeah,
for them.
I think I think the older I get, the more that these crazy things happen like that, and things happen in all sports. But you kind of like put yourself in someone's shoes, and you're like, this is insane. Like you view it from an outside perspective, and it kind of looks like a movie, and it's a cool highlight reel, and it's great for promo. But then you really think about it, and you're like, dude, three people jumped in the cage after the fight and tried to kill Connor.
Yeah, one of them I
Habib
think is still
just
banned from the UFC.
Yeah, they all should be. They all should be.
Well,
Um,
Islam was one of them.
well, all right, well, shout out my
Bars.
champ. Shout out my champ. Yeah. Shout out my champ. But dude, that has to be number one beef in the UFC. Um, do you have any honorable mentions before we get out of here?
No, I think my list was complete. I don't have any honorable mentions at all.
I have one honorable mention because this one always makes me laugh. TJ Dillashaw and Cody Garbrandt.
I mean, that wasn't even that big of a deal.
No, I think why it was because it was the beef with the gym. It wasn't
Yeah.
necessarily a beef with an individual. It was the beef with the gym, you know? And then that also like kind of comes from like Dominic Cruz and Uriah, because Dominic Cruz was beating everybody from Uriah's gym. Um, but dude, it's I don't know, man. The
Well, that started
UFC,
because of Connor on the Ultimate Fighter.
yeah. What
Because
the
it was Connor versus Uriah, and Connor was saying that TJ was a snake, and
yeah, because he left for
he's taken
Dwayne.
all yeah he's taken all the good fighters to Dwayne, and then Cody Garbrandt stood up for him, and like that's when Cody Garbrandt tried to go at Connor, and then later on Cody was like, oh shit, like Connor was right, and then that's when the TJ fight and stuff like that happened. He
Yeah,
realized that Connor was right about TJ being a snake.
yeah. Out of all of the ones on our list, which one do you think was the best outcome?
Probably Izzy and
Really?
yeah, 2 stars born. Like Izzy's probably maybe second or third as the middleweight goat. I'm still gonna put Anderson above him, and then it's gonna be like a toss up, second or third for him. And then Alex is just about to be a three weight division champ. Like the two, like, they squashed the beef. The beef was is done. Like, it was entertaining for us, and both guys were successful after the beef.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the beefs, like, the people weren't successful. One person fell off extremely, or never fought again,
Right.
or like it just wasn't the same for them.
Right.
Whereas
It's not.
Alex and
Izzy still has
Izzy,
a legacy.
yeah, I feel like the legacy, and you can't tell the story without each other. Whereas the other rivalries, I guess John and DC kind of would be the other one, but fucking cats.
Your
But
tail's
the
wagging, Ken.
yeah, DC and John would be the other one that you can't really tell, like, the career without the other. But the other rivalries weren't as huge or as impactful.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I totally agree, man. I think that Alex and Izzy, it's like comic book, and they're the biggest villain in each of their stories. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And for Izzy to talk shit and bring Alex out of the bar and to create a goat, it's insane. And Alex, it can just prove it, man. If you have skill, you can do it. Like coming from like kickboxing, the UFC, and just demolishing people. And I don't know if did you see the clip of Sean O'Malley talking about how big Alex looks,
Yeah. Talking about his
dude.
ass.
Yeah, dude, it's,
Yeah, BB. It's bigger than the BBLs out there.
a Miami girls BBL. Oh my god, dude, that was so funny. But yeah, guys, we wanted to hop on. We wanted to talk a little bit about some UFC beefs, because obviously with what happened with Sean Strickland and Hamza, and then with how Ariel's reacting, we just wanted to hop on and talk about that. Um, we never say this, but like and subscribe. Uh, keep watching. We're gonna keep uploading. We're gonna do predictions later on this week. Ken, do you want to say anything before we get out of here?
Yeah, just always be yourself, because there's no one else like you. And at the end of the day, you're the only person that got your own back.
Exactly. All right. Next episode, I'm on motivation. Ken, thank you for the motivation.
Oh yeah,
We're out
baby.
of here, guys. We'll see you sooner than later.
Yeah.